Well, we're standing out here in a cornfield today, witnessing one of the most violent acts of eco-terrorism that I've seen in a long time in our BT cornfield here. Unfortunately, this was not a terrorist act by humans. It was a terrorist act by raccoons. And the reason we're actually filming this is to show you two things. First of all, some of the challenges that we face in the farming community, because quite frankly, there's really nothing you can do when the raccoons discover a nice field of sweet corn. But the other thing is, there's an urban myth that I hear too often that wildlife, especially raccoons and other wildlife, don't want to eat BT sweet corn. Well, as you can see out here, not. And that's just one of the challenges, once again, that we face out here, that as Katija pans, this is the edge of a field next to our property line and a bush here. And obviously there's some really good habitat out there for raccoons. And what they do is they climb up, and you can see why they're knocked down here. They climb up the stalk, they grab a hold of the thing, and they pull the stalk right over till it breaks like that. And then, as you can see, they have a nice little feed on the sweet corn here. Will we do anything about this? Try and trap them? It's almost futile. If you're going to hunt or trap them, they literally come out at nighttime, and many of you know that about raccoons. But again, it's just something that we've got to live with. And I checked the field here. We were in picking this morning, so I checked the field, and it doesn't go too far in. So I suspect that they're either right in here or right out behind us in the bush there, because they don't go too far. And this is really nice sweet corn, so why would they go too far? As you can see, they totally flattened it right in along here. And by the looks of it, it looks like they probably were eating in here probably on the weekend would be my guess, or even late last week. So the question is going to be, is where are they going to go now? Because quite often the raccoons will follow your sweet corn as you finish. For those of you that aren't familiar, there are protocols now established for addressing the refugia component. That is so that the corn borer and corn earworm cannot get adaptive to the BT technology. And one of the protocols is within 2 weeks after finishing a field, we have to have this disc. But actually, we'll pick this again in about another 2 days, and that'll be the final pick. And then we'll be right in here with the disc and knock this all down and get all the residue incorporated into the ground. And because this is still green, none of the, there's no mature stockage so that could possibly harbor the pest. So you don't get a second generation, which normally you could in field corn, hence a concern over having a certain amount of the acreage dedicated to non-BT varieties. But in sweet corn, I don't think that'll ever be an issue, because in sweet corn, we aim probably for consumer preference on the taste and size of cob first and foremost. So as a farmer, the other urban myth is that it will actually limit my ability and number of varieties I can access as a farmer. Right now I can access over 200 varieties of sweet corn and growing. I can access three BT varieties is all. So I'm not sure that we'll ever see the dogma come to fruition that many would profess out there, that I will be totally beholden to BT sweet corn. However, we've certainly seen this year that the BT sweet corn did what it was supposed to do in terms of managing both European corn borer and corn earworm. The quality, you're standing in an irrigated field here as well, so we've lucked out on our farm in the sense of having planted the fields where we can get water to them. For those of you that aren't from the province of Ontario, we have had probably the most devastating drought through the province here that we've seen in decades, and combined with incredibly high temperatures. We just came off almost 3 solid weeks of 30°+ temperatures here at the farm and throughout the province, and that's been incredibly hard on crops. I'm only now getting caught up on my sleep from irrigating around the clock. I have not had time to get a haircut or anything out there. It's just this has consumed us, keeping the crops going. But remember, I'm a farmer. I feed people. That's what I do for a living. So why would you expect I'd be doing anything other than looking after the crops this time of year?
Okay, anytime.
The final point I should just draw some attention to is you always hear me talk about how I have to farm, and I meaning the collective we as farmers, have to interact with nature, with either last year was rain, this year's hot temperatures and drought, whatever gets thrown at you. But we've always been of the opinion, and I guess my philosophy as a farmer has been, anything that's here that doesn't negatively affect the farming operation or me personally, quite frankly, I don't really worry too much about it. So we've got a fair number of coyotes in the area here now, and there are some on the farm. I'd be more than surprised if they're not watching Khadija and I right now. Don't worry, Khadija, they've probably eaten already. But then they do a good job for rodent control. They do a good job for things like groundhogs. But obviously, I'm going to have a word with them because they're not doing their job at managing or at least scaring off the raccoons. And quite frankly, this is, if you've got a raccoon problem, this is normally what you would see. Not to the point that it's devastating the crop, but, and at least the raccoons, as you can see on some of the cobs here, they ate the whole cob. Where we really get antagonized over raccoons is where they pull it back, take 1 or 2 bites, and go on to the next cob. But this is such nice corn that obviously they felt it was worth eating the whole cob, and they certainly did justice to it. It looks like the raccoons had a corn roast out here, quite frankly.